But the fact that their design team doesn't even know their banned cards, obviously, is an indicator for me that going forward, this game is going to be a shitfest. And it's always, again, they again and again are going to fuck up in their design team because the design team does not think about things clearly. They do not think enough about some things, and that is always going to lead to a fuck up. And Bandai is too old school and too slow to change things quickly enough to just stop things from happening like this. Quite a day, isn't it? So the thing is, normally on this channel we do things like in German and stuff for the community, but I think this video should be done in English to maybe reach a bigger audience. Let's see if that makes any difference at all. I know that most of our community is quite equipped to handle some English, so this shouldn't be too much of a problem. The thing is, I'm not making a video about the ban list in particular. This is not, and you will have seen it in the title and in the thumbnail, this is not going to be... It will include the ban list, of course, because that's part of the problem, in my opinion, but this is mostly something that has been brewing for a while. So yeah, I will get to the ban list, but we won't discuss it in any bigger detail, except for one or two things. Ever since the previews of OP13 in Japan, I was hyped. Don't get me wrong, it's an anniversary set, it's going to be interesting, like every year, I think. But the thing is, something that really started to happen in like EBO2 was happening in OP13 that I'm not quite sure how I feel about. And I think my feelings towards this are getting clearer and clearer the longer we go. Just let me dial it back a little bit, tell you what I mean. The power creep of OP13 is undeniable. That is something we can see clearly, because as soon as we started to see like the Roger support, it was like, okay, this seems quite extreme, this seems quite good, maybe a little too good. And then something else started happening. Practically every card you need for a good Roger deck comes with OP13, which is one of the problems I currently have with the game, and why I think Bandai is steering in the wrong direction with it. And that is something that makes me not want to play this game maybe in the future, because with Emu it's much more pronounced, the issue, but with Roger you could already see the same thing that happened like with GP Luffy in EBO2, and with like Zoro, Green Zoro and also in extension like the Blue Purple Sanji and other decks, that they are printing an enormous, crazy amount of support cards in the set that the leader releases for that leader. This to me feels a little rough, because when I play a TCG, I normally like to deck build. I really like to think of some stuff to maybe make the deck more interesting, or just fill it out and give it that oomph that is maybe missing with the cards that they are giving to us for leader support. And it seems to me that since like EBO2, they started to heavily go into the direction of, no, everything you need is just there. There is mostly no room for extra cards, because the cards they are printing, and with Emu it's the most egregious example, I think, where you get like more cards than you even could possibly put into the deck that are designed for the deck in one set, in the release set of the leader. So, and with Emu it's all the worse, because Emu seems to be one of those decks, or is going to be one of those decks, with all the testing that some people already have done, that is going to be extremely powerful, much more powerful and potent than any deck we have seen in the past. And that is somehow a direction I don't quite like. I don't, in multiple ways. So in the first instance, I don't like it that we get all the cards and just do not have any deck building options in reality, because the best stuff you just get. Which makes me ask, why don't they just release a goddamn structure deck then? Because that's basically it, with the added benefit of us needing to buy boosters to get all the cards, or buy singles to get all the cards. So That is something. And in the second instance, the power creep is much too high. It's an engine that's much too strong, and that brings me to one of the problems I wanted to discuss today, which is the design and the I think at Bandai, especially when it comes to the OPTCG, they seem to have like 50 different departments with 50 different things that they do, and nobody talks to each other. There is no overlap whatsoever, and one of the reasons I really start not to only think that, but I'm quite sure that it is the case, is the now announced ban list. We will get to that soon. It would not even be a surprise for me if they just design colors in single teams and don't really communicate with each other. That is something that I fought for a long time, because some colors, especially in the early days of OPTCG, just felt way, way, way underpowered, which somehow felt like they never really tried to get them on the same level. But regardless of that, I know I'm going all over the place, but I'm really quite miffed and a little bit. I've lost quite a lot of faith in Bandai and how they are going to proceed with the OPTCG. And to that point, I really like the OPTCG. Like, half our apartment here is filled with OPTCG cards. We like to collect it. We like to play it. We are going to most of the major tournaments. We really love it. So what's the problem? So let's start with the ban list. The ban list should have been announced like on the weekend, the past weekend, which we all know because we are here right now, did not happen. They normally do this. They always do this at the end of the tournaments, and we were all thinking, okay, it's going to come. Did not come, which suggested highly that there was some unforeseen consequences in some way that they needed to address with the ban list, which tells me something else. That's something we're going to get to right now. So we have the ban list. That's fine. I think the decisions for finally, by the way, finally taking a page out of their own book with their other games that they've done in the past, like Digimon and others, where they just said, okay, so you cannot play that leader with that card in the deck, or you can't play those two cards in one and the same deck, which they did, and I quite like it. I like that they finally took the step in that direction. I don't know where that fucking step was with the 8-cost Moria, and why they were so adamant with not doing that. But the 8-cost Moria will be an example of something that is right now to come. Because the thing is, it's all well and good that finally the 9-cost Linlin and the 8-cost Katakuri cannot be played in the UP Luffy, which is really nice, and which I think will open the door for a kind of other UP Luffy and for a UP Luffy that they originally tried to design, with not that much survivability in the late game and with some kind of weakness, which is all in all I think pretty nice for the health of the game. Which brings me to the point of why exactly did we not get this kind of approach with the 8-cost Gecko Moria? That wasn't a problem in decks like Gecko, for example, or in decks like Perona, for example, but were a problem in like BY Luffy and in especially Lucci and stuff like that. So where was that approach when we needed it then? Because they already knew how to do it from their other games, but they just didn't want to. And that's the point I'm coming to now, because oddly missing on this list is something to do with Gum Gum Giant. And the fact that Gum Gum Giant is not getting touched is a very, very big indicator for me that they just won't ever touch a fucking card, irrelevant of how toxic or bad for the game it is. And I'm not saying GGG is that much of a toxic card. I'm thinking it is too early for such a good counter event that is highly playable and is an auto include in every deck that can run it, that I don't see the point in not at least limiting it to one, because limiting it to one would really completely skirt around the whole problem, because one of Gum Gum Giant is actually fine. The problem arises when you have like Gum Gum Giant into Gum Gum Giant into Gum Gum Giant into Gum Gum Giant. And you get through your whole deck, can completely filter your hand, and not really have something that is a drawback with that card. But okay, they did not do that. Why did they not do that? My best guess, and it's an educated guess, because when you look at the way they handled the 8-cost Moria, which was a problem for a long time, and they knew that it was a problem. They all knew it was a problem. They did not need that much time to figure out that the 8-cost Moria was that big of a problem. They decided, consciously, to not limit or ban that card or restrict that card in any way because of a reprint. Because that card got a reprint in the PRB01 set, and they did not want to restrict or ban or limit a card that is going to come out in one of their upcoming products. And they will not ban or restrict or limit it in any way while that product is the main product they are trying to sell. So you can think about that what you want, but that means to me that for Bandai, sales are the top priority, which is fine. It's a company, we all know that. But the health of the game is very much secondary or maybe even tertiary to them. So that is one of the things I started to feel like with the 8-cost Gecko Moria, and I feel very passionately about right now, and I hate it to my core. Because the player experience and the tournament experience especially, where it is something where people play for highly regarded prizes, or even invites to Worlds or something else, is influenced by their decisions to not balance the game when there is a financial incentive not to do that. And that is something I don't quite like in my card games. Don't know about you, but I kind of hate it. Which brings me to the next point. Nami is now banned. People that know me know that I like to play Nami, I like the deck, I really quite am fond of this leader. But I'm quite fond of every deck or leader that somehow changes the way you need to play, either against or with. But the thing is, this card, or at least a card in combination with Nami, was the reason the ban list was delayed. That is quite obvious. We don't need to skirt around the issue. This card, Nami, was definitely 100%, 150% the reason the ban list was delayed. Which tells us two things. Number one, the incompetence of some people at Bandai that are responsible for giving us cards, designing the cards, balancing the cards, knows practically no bounds. And a point to underscore that will be given to you right now, because they banned the Nami leader, which somehow makes sense because the new Otama they printed for OP13 is completely crazy. So we get to the problem with Otama, and most of you will know that card by now. That is just a better version of the banned Kabaji that they needed to ban very early on so that Nami wouldn't be too good. So in every other TCG, I would not have a problem with an oversight like this, but OPTCG has a ban list of 9 to 10 cards. It cannot be that fucking hard to check 9 to 10 cards or design around 9 to 10 cards, or at least try to not design something that is in those 9 to 10 cards. It's not like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where the ban list sometimes is like 100 cards deep, or the restricted and ban list is like 200, 300 cards deep. It's not that difficult. And it's not that they designed that many cards that this is an oversight that just can happen. These things are designed like months in advance. They know that these things are going to be printed. They know they have time to test them. They have time to work with them. They have time to see if they are busted or not. They have time to test this with older readers, not just with newer ones. Especially a blue card that draws cards is something that you maybe should test with blue Nami from OPO3. Because that would be the first instance to think about. Obviously, they didn't. They even did not until the community got hold of the preview for the Otama card. Then there was the ban list delay. The ban list delay was on the weekend. 3 days later, or like make it 4 days later, we get the updated ban list with the Nami ban. That only took place in those 4 days, I guarantee you. Which screams incompetence by itself. The thing is, this Nami card is now banned. Okay, I get it. Not everyone likes that leader. It's fine. I think most of the people will be quite happy about the ban of this leader. I still don't know why, but fine. If it's that hard to learn a different play style, maybe you should, like, I don't know, play checkers or something. I have no idea, or Uno, if that's too hard for you. So just my 2 cents. This Nami leader gets banned, and the only reason for that is going to be the new Otama, most likely. In primary reason is the new Otama. Okay, fine. So now I am asking the question. They checked to do like this. And in those 4 days, they did not get the idea to fucking do the same thing with the Otama for Nami. No, they needed to nuke the leader and give it a completely useless, by the way, promo leader that is going to replace this leader. Okay, alright. So the thing is, the new promo leader, most of you will have already seen it, new promo leader says you can only play East Blue cards in it, and the rest is basically the same. This eliminates over half of the current Nami lists that are barely a deck in this meta right now, and makes it unplayable. And those cards you can play, and this brings me to the next point where I'm slowly and now even faster and faster losing faith in Bandai and the way they run this game. In April, when the block rotation that I was against from the very start will be in effect, all blue East Blue type cards will be gone. And that new leader, I don't know why, has a block number of 4, so we have it for a long time after that. But they will do nothing to support that leader. I can guarantee it right now. And if they support that leader in any way, which might be, it will not be in a capacity that is even in some shape, way, or form useful. That will just not happen. Because the fact that they just so easily took the leader now and banned it tells me something. It tells me that Bandai much rather would shut up the community and say, okay, we are getting rid of this, you don't like to play against it, goodbye. And they don't have a financial incentive to keep Nami around. So it's fine for them. And the new promo leader, there is no financial incentive to support that leader in any way. Maybe with a starter deck in the future, but who the fuck knows when that's going to be and how that's going to look, because I guarantee you now, this deck will never, ever again be as playable as it was, I would say, right now, or 2 to 3 to 4 months ago. Maybe half a year ago. It will never again be that playable. And the only time it would have been playable enough would have been with the release of OP13. But they don't want an old leader to be much better than their new power-crept leader, so yeah, I get it. But it makes me furious that they had the answer to their problem right here, right the fuck here. And they did not take it. No, they just gone ahead and banned the leader and made a leader that is unplayable, instead of just doing the same thing they did here with Otama and Nami. Here. How hard can it be? I don't understand it. I really do not understand it. And the next thing is that Nami leader was obviously only designed in like 4 days. The new promo Nami leader, and you, like everything I just told you now, the unplayability of that leader shows that it only was designed in maximum of 4 days. Maybe less. Most likely less. Which gets me to the point where I say, if that's the way Bandai is going to run that card game, I really am losing every bit of faith I had in the company to ensure that this card game stays in a playable state. And like I said, the rotation is coming. That deck would have been nothing, not even available, in April. It would have been gone. They just did not need to do this. In no way. But okay, it's banned. Fine. I mean, the fact that they brought Kabaji back from the ban list is another spit in the face, in my opinion, because this card isn't even an East Blue card, so yeah, it's not going to be run in any deck ever. So yeah, quite fine with that, I guess. Maybe it's a good tech card for Buggy, but let's see. So yeah, I'm a little bit miffed. I really don't like where this is going. I really hate it that it feels like Bandai is incompetent on so many levels right now. Please don't get me wrong. Yeah, I am upset for the Nami ban. I don't like the Nami ban. I never like it when they need to ban leaders. I wouldn't ever have called for a leader ban on Monkey D. Luffy UP. Why ever should you ban that leader? You can just try to fix it with stuff like this. And it's, I think, completely fine. I find it also fine that they brought back Sakazuki when they finally learned that, yeah, this thing is not a problem anymore, most likely. Yeah, let's bring it back. I like it. They had the opportunity. They themselves fucked up so bad in so many ways that they needed to do this, in spite of the fact that they didn't need to do this, because they just right here had a completely fine way of doing the same thing with Nami and Otama and just did not think of it. How do you not think of it? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And that is mainly the reason why, I mean, if I wouldn't have the invite for the finals in December already, I think that would be the time where, for the first time in a long time, since OPO1, I would maybe stop playing this game for now. And I'm pretty sure I will play a little less, if not a lot less. And just when then I'm going to grind a little bit OP13 for the December finals, and I think that's going to be it. Maybe here and there some bigger tournaments, but this really makes me quite uninterested in investing in the OPTCG going into the future, because they don't have a clear, concise handle on their own game, and their decisions are obviously sales and money driven, and I don't like that. I really don't like that, because I can guarantee you now, Gum Gum Giant will stay a problem, and they won't fix it until it is too late again, because they need to sell their fucking manga event from Gum Gum Giant in their reprint set, because that's the only reason people buy the reprint set, because of GGG and nothing else. No one would buy PRB2 if GGG was banned. This is so stupid. This is stupid on so many levels. Like I said, GGG didn't even need to be banned. It just needed to be restricted, in my opinion. But yeah, fine. So I've rambled on long enough. I think I somehow got off track like 5 or 7 times. That's fine. If you'd like, please leave a comment. What do you think about this? Am I seeing this wrong? Like I said, it's not, yeah, they banned Nami. Yeah, I'm sad that they banned Nami, but my anger does not come from banning Nami. My anger comes from all the fuck ups they're doing time after time after time after time, and obviously somewhat learning from it, and then not really learning from it, and doing it again and again and again. Because let's be honest, this is all too late. All of this should have happened like a month or 2 ago. This should not have taken that long. And this should have never happened. They should never have even designed a card like Otama with the text that's on there. They should have just, if that's a card for the Ace deck, then they should have just printed an Ace stripe on it and be done with it. But the fact that their design team doesn't even know their banned cards, obviously, is an indicator for me that going forward, this game is going to be a shitfest. And it's always, again, always, they again and again are going to fuck up in their design team because the design team does not think about things clearly. They do not think enough about some things, and that is always going to lead to a fuck up. And Bandai is too old school and too slow to change things quickly enough to just stop things from happening like this. They are incapable of reacting in a timely manner to things. And that is something I just can't get behind. I really can't get behind. I don't know. And like I said, we all hope that they learned from the 8-cost Gecko Moria. They clearly didn't. They clearly did not learn anything from the 8-cost Gecko Moria. And that is something I am... It just breaks my heart. I love the game. I love the community. I don't want to leave that all behind, but it is just idiotic. Everything about this is idiotic. I don't get it. I completely do not understand how this could have worked out the way that it did. I hope you all have a great time with OPO 12. Like I said, please let me know what you think about all the stuff I tried to articulate here. Because I would like to think if I'm the only one. I mean, I talked to some people and I know that I'm not the only one that feels like Bandai is losing their grip in the department of power creep and card designs, and that they're putting the pedal to the metal a little too much, especially with OP13. But I'm interested to know what you say. I wish you a great day. Bye.